Every list of the cheapest franchises in America ends the same way. Taco Bell wants a couple million. McDonald's wants hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in your bank account before they will even talk to you. And then, at the bottom of the list, sits the most successful restaurant chain in the country, asking for $10,000, Chick-fil-A. The average standalone location sells around $9 million of chicken a year. Popeyes averages under $2 million. McDonald's does not come close. And Chick-fil-A does it with the lights off every single Sunday, which means the best performing fast food restaurant in America is beating everyone else with one hand tied behind its back, 6 days a week. All of that, the listicles tell you, can be yours for $10,000, less than the price of a used Corolla. It is probably the single most clicked fact in franchising. And it is completely true. That is the problem. I read the disclosure documents and the franchise agreements, so you don't have to. And this episode is a little different because there are no hidden fees to uncover and no fake numbers to expose. Everything you are about to hear is printed in black and white by Chick-fil-A itself. Today, we are just going to do the thing almost nobody who shares that $10,000 fact has ever done. We are going to read the contract. But first, you have to get one, and that is its own story. Around 60,000 people apply to become Chick-fil-A operators every year. Roughly 80 are selected. That is about 1/10%, which makes getting a Chick-fil-A harder than getting into Stanford, where nearly 5% make it, harder than landing a job at Google, and harder than becoming a Secret Service agent. One operator in Atlanta has described going through 10 rounds of interviews, writing 12 essays, and handing over a copy of his high school transcript. The process can run for a year or two. They talk to the people who know you. They ask about your community. They ask whether you are willing to move anywhere in the country for a restaurant. And that $10,000 fee comes with a condition most people skim past. It must be non-gifted and non-borrowed money. Chick-fil-A checks where your 10 grand came from. Now stop and ask why. When McDonald's evaluates a franchisee, it checks the size of your bank account because it is choosing an investor. When Chick-fil-A evaluates an operator, it checks your character, your leadership, and your willingness to relocate. And it barely cares about your money at all. Those are not the questions you ask an investor. Those are the questions you ask when you are hiring somebody. Hold that thought, because the contract is about to confirm it. Here are the 5 lines in that contract that change everything. Line 1. You own nothing. Chick-fil-A finds the site, buys or leases the land, constructs the building, and purchases every fryer, freezer, and cash register inside it. An outlay its own disclosure documents put at anywhere from a bit over $400,000 to $2.3 million per restaurant. Your $10,000 does not buy any of that. It buys you the right to operate the restaurant. The land is theirs. The building is theirs. The equipment is theirs, and you pay rental on it. The business itself is theirs. Line 2, the split. The famous number in franchising is the royalty, and a typical chain charges somewhere between 4 and 8% of sales. Chick-fil-A charges 15% of gross receipts off the top, plus an advertising contribution that can run up to 3.25%. And then comes the sentence with no equal anywhere in the industry. After the store pays for food, labor, and every other expense, Chick-fil-A takes 50% of whatever net profit remains. Half. Run that on a standalone store doing $9 million a year. 15% means $1,350,000 comes off the top before the store has paid for a single chicken breast. Then all the normal costs of running a restaurant. Then half of everything left. When analysts work backwards through those numbers, the operator's keep lands at roughly 5 to 7% of sales, which on a strong store is somewhere between $165,000 and $275,000 a year, with the biggest volumes pushing past $400,000. Genuinely great money. Also, read it again slowly. The person running the highest grossing restaurant concept in America, 60 hours a week, keeps about a nickel of every dollar that crosses the counter. Line 3. One store, all of you. The agreement requires you to run the restaurant full-time and hands-on, personally, in the building. You cannot own other businesses on the side. You cannot hire a manager and check in on weekends. And you cannot build an empire, because new operators get exactly one location, and only a small group of top performers are ever offered a second. Here is a detail I love from the disclosure documents. The franchise fee for that second restaurant is $5,000. Your second Chick-fil-A costs half as much as your first, and you will not own that one either. Line 4. There is no exit. You cannot sell your restaurant because it was never yours to sell. You cannot transfer it, and you cannot pass it to your children. This is the part that stops people cold. If your kids want to run your Chick-fil-A someday, they submit an application and stand in line with the other 60,000. The classic franchise wealth story, where somebody buys a few stores, builds value for 20 years, and sells the portfolio to fund their retirement, is structurally impossible here. When your run ends, the restaurant simply continues without you, and you walk out with your final distribution and a lot of memories. Owner-operator. Line 5. Chick-fil-A tells you all of this. Their own franchise page says, in their own words, that becoming an operator is not about making a financial investment or having a retirement option. One of their own operators, quoted on their own website, warns that the business may not be profitable for the first few years. The 15% and the 50% sit in disclosure documents that journalists write about every spring. Nothing in this video is a leak. Chick-fil-A has never once lied about this deal. The listicles lied about it. Every time they put a $10,000 franchise next to franchises you actually get to own, as if those were the same product. So if it is not really a franchise in the way you imagined, what is it? Strip away the branding, and the contract describes something simple. It is a job, arguably the best-paying job in fast food. The company runs an astronaut-level selection process, pays for the entire spaceship, hands you one route to fly, pays you a couple $100,000 a year to fly it brilliantly, and takes the ship back when you are done. Judged as a franchise, it might be the worst standard deal in America. No equity, no exit, no expansion, and half your profit gone. Judged as a job, try to name another one that requires no degree, no capital beyond $10,000, and no restaurant experience, yet pays like a senior surgeon and comes backed by a brand doing more than $20 billion a year in sales. Both descriptions are true at the same time. The contract just only supports one half of the phrase, owner-operator, and it is not the first half. So who should genuinely want this? The person who wants to run one great restaurant for 20 years, be the most known face in their community, and be paid extremely well the entire time, without ever risking their savings. The brilliant operator who could never raise $2 million, but can out-hustle anyone who did. The leader who honestly cares more about their team and their town than their balance sheet, which sounds like a brochure line right up until you remember that, is literally what the selection process filters for. For that person, this is the best deal in food, full stop. And the 80 people chosen each year know exactly what they won. And it is the wrong deal for everyone who came for the usual reasons. Empire builders, equity builders, anyone whose plan ends with the word sell. Anyone who heard $10,000 and pictured a shortcut to owning what the guy at McDonald's paid $2 million for. You are not getting his deal at a discount. You are getting a different deal, and the difference is the whole point. So here is the verdict. Chick-fil-A looks like the perfect franchise until you read the contract. And the contract says it was never really a franchise at all. It is an elite operating partnership where the company keeps every asset and pays you handsomely to be excellent. $10,000 is not the price of a business. It is the entry fee to the most selective job interview in America. Some people hear that and feel cheated. Some hear it and start writing the 12 essays. Which one you are tells you everything about which kind of ownership video you need next. Speaking of which, next time we leave the drive-thru for the break room, And the metal box that an entire corner of the internet swears will pay you $100 a day while you sleep. Vending machines look passive. Until you do the route math. If this just saved you 5 years of interviews for a business you would never own, the subscribe button is free.